All right, Dalton, we're doing another player breakdown of one of our best D tackles in college football. Checking in at number 7 on our list was Tyleik Williams from Ohio State. What makes him so good, do you think, in your opinion, Dalton?
I think two things that jump out at me. You can tell the athleticism is in there, even though he's put on a lot of weight over the last 2 years. He's a really, really good athlete. Batted down 4 passes. You see him on occasion dropping into coverage. But I think what sticks out most is the high-end play in run defense, right? There are moments in run defense where you just go like, wow, this guy he's like a freak. His lateral quickness, when he uses his hands, he's a really, really good player at shedding blocks. Like, that's what stands out to me. The pass rush could be a little more consistent, but the high end of his run defense is as good as anybody. And he had 33 total defensive stops last year, which was 4th most of any defensive tackle in the country. There's a ton of potential with Williams, and I don't even think he's tapped into it all the way. But you can see the athleticism. I think he's got to figure out like the right size and the right weight to play at, because he's been in the past up in the 90-something percentile in athleticism, and this year he was at a 70. But you can see the flashes of just high-end brilliance where he could easily end this year higher on this list than number 7, possibly as high as 3.
Yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, he was a rotational guy for them as a true sophomore in 2022. He had an 82.4 grade that year. Became a full-time starter this past year, tied for 4th in the Power 5 with 26 run defense stops, 4th most valuable returning Power 5 D tackle over the last 2 years, according to our wins above average metric. He's such a smart player, man. When you turn on the run defense tape with him, he is so smart and always knows, what gap to be going into and make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage, honestly. So I'm a huge fan of Tyleik Williams, especially as a run defender. And I think with that added weight now, going from 290 to 327, he should be even more dominant as a run defender. I think he's certainly one of the best run defending D tackles that we have in college football right now. What are some of the negatives, though, Dalton, with Tyleik Williams when you're watching him?
I think for me, it's consistency, right? I think you do get some super high-end stuff in the run game, and then you do get some lower-end stuff where you talk about getting reached in, like, the outside zone game, or there's times where he doesn't quite use his hands as well. Like, there's guys that get into his chest. And then in the pass rush, I don't see enough, like, explosiveness, especially at the higher weight yet. So I wonder if he's trying to find that balance, because you can tell he's a really, really good athlete, right?
Yeah.
I think he just has to figure out how to shed blocks and get a little more consistent in the pass rush. Like, there is a lot of untapped potential with Tyleik Williams that very well in this defense, that could be the best defense in the country, could be found this year. Last year we kind of thought of Michael Hall as the pass rushing specialist in Ohio State. Williams has to become that this year. If he finds that along with his high-end run defense, you're talking about a guy who could be an elite player, but he's just not quite – he wasn't consistent enough for me to put him up near, like, the top 5 in this list. So that's what I'm looking for, is just down-to-down consistency.
Yeah, I think the pass rushing is a big thing for him, right? He only had an 8% pass rush win rate this past season, and that was when he was listed at 290 pounds last year. Now he's listed at 327. So now he's 37 pounds heavier, at least than what he was listed last year. I think he was playing a little bit heavier than what he was listed at 290 last year, but even heavier, man, it's going to be harder for him, I think, as a pass rusher. So we'll see how he could do as a pass rusher, but like I said, it will help him out in the run game. I think he will be able to eat up blocks in the run game and stack and shed offensive linemen really well, but I think the pass rushing is definitely the biggest question mark for him right now, because I think he wasn't effective enough as a pass rusher for Ohio State last year, but still good enough to be one of our top 10 D tackles in college football. Still good enough to be a first-round pick for a lot of people in their way too early 2025 NFL mock drafts. So that's what we got on Tyleik Williams from Ohio State.